Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're talking about we're going to show off 5 knives that are so good they make it hard to choose which model to get. These are the types of knives that make it very difficult to pick which knife you want to get. This is a new model from Rec Knives that is the only knife in this list that's open for pre-order, or that's going to be open for pre-order. I believe very soon, like in the next week or two, or very soon, this will be open for pre-order. This is the Sparrow by Rec Knives, and we have a and it's also OEM'd by Riat. You have a magnet cut blade with a drop point blade shape and a beautiful mirrored stone wash. Titanium frame lock with this, I believe it's green canvas micarta. It almost looks like it grows out of the titanium. Very, very well done. I like how they put it on both sides. Titanium backspacer, nice little lanyard spot right there. Milled titanium clip, lots of milling on the inside for weight relief. It is a very slim knife, and it is a front flipper. Now, this is the perfect jimping you want on a front flipper. It's not sharp, it's not slick, it's grippy. Like, it's literally grippy as hell. And that's why we used a similar jimping on the Offender model. And when we do a new version of the misdemeanor, we're also gonna have jimping similar to that. Now, the front flipper works really, really well. With this type of knife, you're gonna want to be a front flipper fan because it's obviously its only deployment, but it also has a nice strong detent. You can use the back of your thumb right here. There's something satisfying about that, where you just almost like push into it and, until it breaks. You can do the side finger. You can obviously do the front of your thumb, the reach over. All of them work very, very well. Great front flipping action. Definitely a premium action for a front flipper. And then the drop, very, very smooth. Riat does really good action. It's got a detent right there, but you can easily obviously get past it because there's no flipper tab or anything like that. Access to the lock bar is probably my biggest negative. I do think that he's doing something about that. I think he's going to change that. I think there's a couple little tiny minor changes, if I remember correctly. T10 hardware all the way around. Love to see that. I did the same thing on my misdemeanor. It just, is less likely to strip out and stuff. They're more heavy duty, and I think they look good. Love the stone washed finish on the titanium too. That also will help hide scratches and stuff. Perfect sharpening tool and plunge grind, exactly the way you want to see it. And even though I've been testing this thing and carrying it, I have not sharpened it, but it has held up really well. It's still very, very sharp, still has a lot of bite. It still has a good factory edge on it. I can feel a couple little tiny microchips here and there, but it's great. The clip works well. In and out of the pocket's pretty smooth. It is a tight clip, but the ramp is good. And if you have thick jeans, it is definitely a little bit more, it's definitely tighter. But with just regular jeans, it's smooth in and out of the pocket. And the cutout for the lock bar relief it has the corners knocked down. So your pants don't hang up. It just glides right over that. Love, love, love to see that. Like I said, the pre-order for this will be opened up here really soon. I'm not 100% about all the little tiny minor changes, but yeah, so keep your eye open for that. That is definitely a banger. The next one is the Devo Tall Boy. This is possibly my favorite, that was my fault, possibly my favorite Devo model. I freaking love it. This is my original one, and I just adore this thing. It's totally my style knife. S90V, deep hollow ground sheep's foot blade. They fixed the sharpening tool and plunge grind from the first version on the second version. Love the, look at that lock bar access. That's my kind of lock bar access. It is a liner lock, but this part of the liner is thicker, so it looks like a frame lock. I actually have a model coming like that as well. Titanium mill pocket clip. Full titanium backspacer, beautiful action. The thumb studs just land in like such a perfect spot. I thought about changing this thumb stud over to this one, just, they're both purple fat carbon fiber, but this one, having the thumb studs placed where the thumb studs are, is like a perfect place. Like, it's such a natural feeling to get to it because it's a slim model. So you can see right here, you have this cut you know, from the lock bar access. So it's like your finger just lands there, you know, when you go to pick up the knife. And even the reverse flick is kind of the same way. Even though this is like a perfect example of a thumb stud model, the hole is also a great example, if not a perfect example, of where the hole should land for a reverse flicking knife. You can equally do the thumb flick on that too. The fat carbon fiber, beautiful cut. Love the way it plays with the light. This all blacked out version definitely is going to look sick with a mirror polished edge. But like I said, you know, there's also the first version right here. Not much differences. Like I said, the one is the sharp control and plunge grind. Now, really quick, I love the Devo Stout. I really regret not getting the new version of it with the micro milling, the one that was slightly contoured, because this was my favorite Devo model. But that second version, man, I got to try it. I regret not getting one, but it is very hard for me to choose which one I like the most between these two knives, because they're both so damn good. Recently, and this isn't part of the list or anything, Devo put out this guy, which is the diamond, the Devo Chaser, which is this one in particular is a Blade Binge exclusive. So these might be sold out. I'm not sure. You can check, you know, the Blade Binge link down in the description, but there's other versions of this available in other places, some more affordable than others because he used different materials and so on. So just know that there are still some of these available in different places, and that is the Devo Chaser. Now, let's get to the next one, which is the Happy Hour from Kouo. Oh my goodness. Just look at this. Look at this pivot. If this is not just an absolute gorgeous pivot, you got the Damascus steel core in the pivot core and the pivot collar in Damascus. Then we have a beautiful cut of Damascus on the clip. And it has a regular titanium backspacer, titanium hardware, and a Wharncliffe blade. This Wharncliffe blade has a nice spot. Look at the way they did this cut right here. Like, just a great place to put your hand. Utility cuts, this thing, you know, can't, like, it's a perfect example of a Wharncliffe, by the way. And the way this handle, cants the way it does, how it angles down right there, perfect for the hand for doing utility cuts and slicing and basically just everything. And it is by the way, a liner lock. So it's a titanium liner lock. I'm not sure if this is actually steel. I believe it's all tie, but no. Okay. So it is titanium scales with a steel lock bar liner. I'm not sure about the other liner on the other side. Yeah, that's steel too. So we do have steel liners, titanium scales. You can see it's a picker design, and it has good, well, decent access to the lock bar. You can see they did cut it back just a little bit, so it is pretty easy to get to. Thumb studs are also really, really nice on this to attack. To attack with your thumb. If you look, it has this cool pattern around them, adding some texturing. And then you also have the hole for the reverse flick or thumb flick, because you can get the hole on that side too. Then it has this flipper tab that's kind of like the shape of the blade that is a push button. I mean, I guess you can light switch it because it does have good grippy jimping, but it likes a push button. So if you really love push button action, this is a great one because it's basically the only way to deploy it. Like I said, you can drag down, but it is, you know, it's angled, so, you know, you kind of slip, but that push button is very satisfying. Beautiful, beautiful knife. I'm not going to sit here and say too many negatives. This is definitely one that's going to be a preference or not. You know, it is a vibrant looking knife. I think it looks gorgeous because I can see not only the functionality when I see a design like this, but also just how artistic it is, and, you know, all the planning in it, you know, with all the little details that just make it stand out and make it pop. So, you know, if you have a bunch of knives and you pull this one out, it's definitely one that will get some attention. Next, one of my favorite knives of Blade Show, the Jan Chevron. So this is a CK design, and it is Absolutely amazing, man. Not much of a left-handed user. Oh, I guess I could do it. And there's a bunch of different versions of this, from thumb studs to different inlays, or sorry, different liners, I should say, because this is a carbon fiber and titanium. So you see there's carbon fiber on the inside of that one and the titanium on the inside of this one. They did do that very well. It's kind of cool how they did it. Look at the, like, there is a titanium liner in there. You can almost hardly see it. The way they machined it is so clean. We have a very, very thin, deep hollow ground, magna cut blade, beautiful swedge. Love the satin. This is by Riat. You can feel that it's by Riat. Again, same sharp jimping we love to see on front flippers, just like the first model we checked out. And again, man, just an amazing, amazing front flipper, very satisfying, and you have the whole deployment, or, you know, thumb or reverse flicking deployment. Titanium backspacer, titanium mill pocket clip, and then the access to the lock bar. They didn't cut it back, but they did put a nice chamfer there. I would prefer a little bit more access, but it's not bad. It's not something that aggravates me or anything. It's just, I would prefer it a little bit bigger, but it doesn't make it any less than, it doesn't make me love it any less. I love the hell out of this knife. Once I seen it at Blade Show, I said, oh man, that's me. That's me right there. I think I got to put some oil on it. So that's what a dry detent ball looks like right there, and you can hear it. Now watch this. Let's drop. And this isn't even the heavy. This is the original. I got to find my heavy bottle. I might be out of it. After oiling it, let's try it. Ooh, look at how smooth that sucker is now. Oh yeah, much, much smoother. Yeah, man, when I seen this knife on the Riat table at Blade Show, I absolutely fell in love with it. I think that this is a beautiful example of a knife in 2025. You know, from the shape, the grinds, the fit, finish, just everything about it is done on a high level, and it feels like it. And it's something you can appreciate as a knife guy. Very ergonomic, very functional design. So this is not just art or beauty. This is a highly functional knife, meaning like this thing's gonna cut really well. It's gonna be very comfortable to use. It's going to be a design that's basically a user design. Now, my one negative, two negatives, I guess I should say, would be the sharp control and plunge grind. I wish they would have just literally cut this all the way to like right there so that we had distance between the edge and the plunge grind. You know, there's nothing in the way back here, so they had all the room. It is an internal stop pin. So that's something I definitely would have preferred. Not that big of a deal though, definitely not a deal breaker. And if I needed to, I could take my Dremel and just go bzzz right there and cut out a little half a circle right there. Access to the lock bar would be the second thing, but that's not a negative. That's, like I said, it's not a negative at all. It's just something I would have loved to see. The clip could be a little bit smoother. There is this hard edge. I wish they wouldn't have landed the clip right on the edge. I wish they would have put this on the inside of the lock bar, or at least knock these edges down, kind of like they did on this one, where nothing gets hung up there. It's not horrible, it's not bad. Again, it's not a deal breaker type of clip or anything like that, but it's something I totally would prefer with this knife design. But damn it, this thing is so awesome. I love this knife. Wish I had the custom here. This is the tipper. I have had the tipper on the channel before I had the custom one. Well, I had a prototype of the custom one, which, if you watch the videos, man, I drooled over. I love this knife. I love the uniqueness. I love the blade shape. I mean, it's obviously super different. It's not going to be for everybody, but for those that like the weird, this is cool. And it actually is a bit more functional than you might think. So yeah, you're not gonna use this tip very much. You can, but it's not gonna be the easiest to use. But you have the secondary tip that's very easy to use. And this edge right here, if you look the way the ergos are, it kind of faces it downward like this. So when you're cutting, it traps materials really well. We have a Damascus blade. Concept does a great job with their Damascus. It's a 10 CR Damascus, basically like a 10 CR 440 C Damascus or something like that. It's very, very good. I've done edge retention tests on the same Damascus, not specifically from Concept, but it did really, really well. Yeah, it's like a raindrop pattern. Freaking sick. Then we have the titanium frame lock. Now it does come in other versions, so this is just one option of many. This one does have that powdery feel. So if you do not like the aluminum oxide blasted finish feel, or where it feels powdery, then you won't want this one. This one definitely has it. Like Kara hates that. If I handed this to Kara, she'd probably just drop it right on my foot too. But it's very ergonomic, and like I said, if you don't like this finish, the other versions don't have that finish. I don't mind it. I personally like it. The tiger stripe pattern looks really cool. It's a flame ano, and it's super comfortable. Very, very ergonomic. You can choke right up. Just this grip right here. I'm not too far from the edge. I feel really comfortable there, and if I needed to, easily choke up. Good access to that lock bar. Thumb studs are well placed. I typically not complain, but I typically nitpick about Concept's thumb studs. I want them to be just a little bit sharper, especially when they add this coating on there. It can be a little slick. These are good though. And I say that because of the positioning, because it's so far away from the handle and this is chamfered around the edge. It's like such a comfortable thumb stud to flip actually in this case. So they knocked it out of the park on this particular model. I don't know if it's just the placement or maybe if these ones feel a little bit sharper, but they work great. The titanium mill pocket clip has plenty of spring because they made it nice and thin. And yeah, you do have the cutout for the lock bar underneath the clip. I prefer it on the inside, but the clip, you know, it works okay. It's a good clip. Yeah, it's not a bad clip. Plenty of room underneath, plenty of ramp. The only thing, you know, is you got that edge right there. When you're taking it out, it can barely hang up there, but it's not like it's not really bad. TA hardware all the way around. And again, man, just a different looking knife. I really wish they would have put his real logo on here, which I always found hilarious. Anyways, there you guys go. What a cool batch of, let's just pull them all out together. What a badass bunch of knives. Every single one of these is an awesome piece. And like I said, if you're choosing between them and all of them are your style, these are definitely hard to choose which one you'd want to take home or which one you'd want to spend all your, or some of your hard-earned money on. But they're all basically the same size too. Well, at least very close to it. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time, peace.